this world, how suddenly YouTube stops working. Who knows? Okay, let me know if you can catch the YouTube signal right now. No, doesn't look like it's working to me. Okay, anyways, let's start our friends with Hayom Yom. Today is Chai Sivan. It's the 18th day of Sivan in the current period, which is literally the time of Mashiach's footsteps. We can hear the footsteps of Mashiach. That is how close we are to the future redemption. In this era, in the current period, it is the obligation of every Jew to seek the welfare of his fellow, whether old or young, to exhort and encourage him to experience teshuvah, return, so that he will not fall out, God forbid, of the community of Israel, who will shortly be privileged with God's help to experience ultimate redemption. We're right now on the cusp of extraordinary times. Let's not miss the boat. Let's wake up and smell the coffee. It's time for teshuvah. It's time to get back on track. It's time to realign our priorities. Quarantine has been a very nice time to think about all of those things that are important to us, our priorities in our lives, things that we might have forgotten or abandoned for all sorts of interesting reasons. But in any event, it is the time to inspire others, including ourselves, at the era of the coming, as we stand on the cusp of the coming of Mashiach. Okay, with that, friends, I'm going to start off with today's Talmud study. Welcome to Mickey. And Marty says no YouTube, even though looked like we had more than one viewer before on YouTube, so maybe it was working. I don't know. I'm going to leave it on for a few more minutes, see what happens. Good morning, Susan. Nice to see you. Been a while. And Stu and Chana and Andy and Terry and Harvey. Okay, let's go straight into Talmud, friends. If you have this book, it is the Eye of Jacob. Ein Yaakov is what it's called. It's a collection of the stories and inspirational components of the Talmud, since the legal components, the technical components of Talmud. And today we're going to be approaching a fascinating concept, the idea of why the righteous suffer and the wicked prosper. We're going to be doing it from a Talmudic perspective. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm on page 99 in the Black Talmud in the book called Ein Yaakov, published by Art Scroll Masorah Publications. If you have it, good. If not, just listen in. You can buy the book through the Shul office over here. Call Ashley at the Shul office, 561-624-2223 to buy your copy. A very nice book to have at home regardless. It's very important to have Jewish books at home just to adorn your shelves, to bring a sense of holiness to your home. Let's go straight into it. Said Rabbi Yochanan in the name of Rabbi Yossi, when the Jewish people sinned with the golden calf, God threatened to destroy them, but Moses prayed for mercy and God accepted his prayer. Still, God told Moses that his divine presence, his Shekhinah, would no longer go with them on their journey to the land of Israel. An angel would lead them instead. At that point, Moses asked for 3 things from the Holy One, blessed be he, and God granted him all 3 of them. Fascinating stuff. So what is it that a mortal like Moses asked of God? 3 things that all 3 of them were fulfilled. Let's take a look. These 3 requests were, number 1, he asked that the divine presence rest on Israel, on the Jewish people, and God granted this to him. You see, God had told Moses that his divine presence would no longer go along with the Jews as it had until now, but instead he would send an angel. Moses pleaded with God to cancel this terrible decree, and God granted this request. God governs the other nations and their lands through intermediaries like angels and the constellations. Remember the constellations, if you've studied this class with me about the zodiac, constellations are a form of angels, which are intermediaries through which God uses to govern the other nations of the world. The Jewish people in the land of Israel, however, he governs them directly. As it says explicitly in the verse in the Torah, Tamid Einei Hashem Elokecha ba, Always, the eyes of God, your God, are upon her. Mereshit Shana, from the beginning of the year, V'ad Acharit Shana, until the end of the year. It's talking explicitly about the land of Israel, which is the apple of God's eye. Everything else can be governed by other intermediaries like angels and constellations. So the Jewish people in the land of Israel, however, he governs directly. It was this special relationship that Moses prayed for at this juncture, and God granted him this request. That's number one, the first thing that Moses prayed for, that he received. We see that Moses asked for this because it says, Moses said to God, how then will it be known that I have found favor in your eyes, I and your people, unless you accompany us? That is, unless your divine presence rests on us. The second request that Moses asked of God, Moshe asked that the Shekhinah should not rest on the idolatrous nations, and God granted this to him too. We see that Moshe asked for this because it says, I and your people will be made distinct from every people upon the face of the earth. Now this one is a continuation of the verse in which Moses asked that the divine presence rest on Israel. Here Moses requested that the Jewish people be distinguished from the other nations, in that the divine presence would rest only on the Jews and not upon any other nation. This request too was granted, says the Talmud. The Chassam Sofer explains, a commentary in the Talmud explains why Moses made this request for the exclusivity of Israel at this time. You see, the Jews had just sinned with the golden calf. It was our most embarrassing moment in all of history. The golden calf was like committing adultery a week after your wedding. You know, we had just married God at Mount Sinai, and just 40 days later, we were serving idols. So the Jews had just sinned with the golden calf, which strained the relationship between God and the Jewish people. Thus, it was possible that a saintly person amongst the other nations might recognize the Creator, withstand the trials, and maybe he should be chosen by God. Just as Abraham had been chosen by God and become the patriarch of another chosen nation. That's what Moses was worried about. Until the sin of the golden calf, such a development would not have been unwelcome to Israel, since it is indeed our hope that the entire world come to know God, but not to the replacement of the Jewish people. However, after the sin of the golden calf, it became possible that such a new nation would become superior to Israel. Remember, God tells Moses, he's like, I'd like to wipe out this nation of Israel, God forbid, and begin a new nation from you. So Moses was concerned that the Jewish people would be replaced by another chosen nation. Therefore, Moses prayed for the sake of Israel's honor that God rest his presence only upon them, and for his presence to rest on any saintly non-Jews. They would have to join Israel through conversion. So for a saintly non-Jew to have the divine presence rest upon them, they would have to join the Jewish people through conversion. Okay, that was the second request that Moses made from God, which was granted. The first one was that God changed his mind about abandoning his personal providence over Israel as they traveled to the promised land. Accepted. The second one, it was exclusivity of God's providence over Israel and over no one else. The third, Moses asked to be told the ways of the Holy One, blessed be he. And this is the subject of what we're learning about today. When we're speaking about why the righteous suffer and why the wicked prosper, Moses is seeking to answer the enigma. I'd like to understand the ways of God. Let's see how he manages to get this done. See that our YouTube feed is really not working. I'm just going to cancel it. Okay.